Right, we should be up and running. This is us for another stint in Friday Night Nine Ball. There's good news and there's bad news. The good news is that the tournament is full. It's limited to 16. So there are a number of latecomers who didn't get here in time and they haven't made it, I'm afraid. Uh, the bad news is that unlike the last couple of weeks where I had them off, I was off on holiday. We managed to get the full tournament in. We won't be doing it. We're back to normal. It's beddy buys after 10 p.m. So doesn't matter where the tourney's at that time. I've got to pull the plug and go to bed. So we've got like a minute or so before the rooms go up, but the bracket's already drawn because it's fully booked up. And we have Houdini again. Now, the one thing to point out, although the bracket's up, the handicaps don't go up until the room, until the top of the hour, I believe. So we have Houdini against Simanx, Black Jagged against Hazard, Larry against Capo, LS3 against Snakes, Phoenix against Dom94, DJ Redo against Spectre Dawn, Rico is playing Miasma, and WizKids playing Alicia B. So these matches will have handicaps in them. A reminder that the tournament is Moneyball handicapping. We'll go back to the event. And we have a race to 7 on the winner's side, race to 4, and a final to 9. And the spot money is on, meaning that if the money ball goes down in the break, it comes back up. And also rack money is on, which means that the rack itself is moved further up the table towards the cue ball, which does change the way the table breaks, or at least it should do. So we may well be about underway. Get this thing to work. Why am I pressing that one at the top? It's the wrong bloody one. Right, the handicaps are up now, and the match we're going to be watching is the match between Black Jagged and Hazard. We can see that Larry, as usual, he's playing Capo and giving out the 5 and out, so that's the heaviest handicap of them all. There's a couple of matches, 2 or 3 matches where they're playing scratch. So anyway, that's the match we're going to go into, and the rooms are up. We've got Black Jagged and Hazard. They look as if they're playing scratch, and we'll pop in. They may well just be lagging off right now. And Black Jagged looks to have won the lag. I'm going to change the colour of the cloth to blue. So this is a scratch match, race to 7. And Black Jagged got a ball in the break and had a 1-9 combo set up, and that's the first rack over. So a promising start for Black Jagged, and another ball in the break as well. So my pre-tournament checks, I checked all the chats, the chat setups for Twitch, for Facebook, and also for YouTube, and everything came back okay, so everything should be up and running and working fine. Now, can Black Jagged run the table? Well, the answer to that is no. And, well, he's almost got away with it. It's a thin cut in the 3. And if Hazard plays this plain ball and overhits it, he's got a danger of scratching, but He's got to play it softer to get a shot in the 4. Well, he's played it harder to go back up the table. But this is Black Jagged getting a second chance at it and see if he can make a better effort this time. And really there is no problem in the table. The only problem is the player just controlling this cue ball and getting position. And he's got to come back slightly off this 4. So he's played that straight, so now he's having to play this with inside English on the left hand side. And he almost overdid it, but he's okay. Well, the major thing that affects Boris is that if he's now off his work for a period of time, it depends how much wine he's got in him. He might be on his second bottle. Good evening. Welcome. So again, a reminder, I'll do some of the tournament, but I won't be able to do all of it. But meanwhile, Black Jagged keeps getting a ball in the break. He's 2-0 up. He needs to play a gentle one in this 1 ball to drop onto the 2. And he's managed to get that. And I think he's a bit straight. Let's have a look. Yeah, but he can just punch it back slightly. He doesn't want to go forward and he doesn't want to get big draw into it. He just wants to punch it. Just to get enough to get an angle. And he's got an angle. And this needs to be gentle. Well, he's overhit it, but is it going to overhit far enough? Well, now he's in between. Let's just check. My little doodle's working. Yeah. That's better. So he's managed to get the 5. Again, he's away at distance, so this is a one that he's got to go full-blooded at. He can't just roll this 6 in dead weight. He needs to come across and out. He wanted really to come across the table there, but he's only gone halfway and he's got a nasty cut in this 8 ball. I think it's on the rail. Yeah, and that's a chance gone. That should have been 3-0. Now that shot that he played, when you've got a cue ball sitting there and the object ball is there, you can't try and drop it in and hold it. You've got to play it full-blooded, get the cue ball across and across, and that way you've played the shot correctly, and it gives you an easier angle to pot that ball and get the cue ball out. So it's given a rack away to Hazard. It's all about just playing the shot correctly. I mean, when you have that amount of angle, the natural path of the cue ball wants to go across the table, and if you play it right, you go across far enough and back out. Oh, aye, Boris is capable. He certainly is. So the push out played by Hazard. We're into rack number 4. Hazard's got off the mark. And these balls are sitting not too bad. The only problem one is that 6 ball, because it's blocked for the corner pocket. So that's the one that makes things a bit of a problem. And Black Jagged has missed the pot in the 3, but he's got the second prize. I need a drink already. Why did I think he was going for the 3? I never noticed the 2 there. And I don't know. I don't know why I thought the 3 was on. That's the first mistake of the night. The first of many. So ball in hand to Black Jagged. Now, what have we got here? It doesn't look good for the billiard. Yeah, I think he's tried that in such a way, but I don't think it was really on. But the saving grace here is the 4 and the 6 are locked up. So there's work to be done. Now if you look at the 4, we can see that the 4 goes, but look at where you have to be to get a pot on that 4. You have to try and break that out. It's no good sitting there. And that was a fairly poor effort at a safety there from Hazard. And it's given Black Jagged a good opportunity here. Again, it's all about the pace. He needs to use the angle to get that stun, and straight away the eye's been taken off the pot. So Black Jagged is getting chances, but already there's signs that he's frittering them away. That's a couple of chances gone. And Hazard has overhit that by quite a bit as well. So there's a bit of warming up needing done here by these two players to find their touch. Well, wasn't an easy cut into the middle, but it's actually safe. There's nothing on there. The cross bank is on. That's an all-out attempt at clearing the table. Well, for some reason he thought he could drop that in, but possibly not at that pace. Yeah, it's definitely going to go this time. So it's another opportunity for Black Jagged to open up that gap. And this has gone straight, so he can only punch this in and drag it back. And these are the ones that are missable. Well, he looks as if he's going forward. No, he's coming back, but you've got to be careful with these. That's what happens with them. How many times have we seen it? As soon as you start drawing the ball at that distance, it's got to be pinpoint accuracy on these pockets so that it won't go in. It'll just rattle and hang up. Well, to me the kick is easy. The kick is easy when you put your line there. You've got a margin of error off that rail to nudge that 6 in, unless he's trying to spin it off the rail. Yeah, I still would have preferred actually kicking that, although there was a narrow gap to get to the 8, but you had a slight margin of error between the rail and the object ball there. So once again, Black Jagged has a chance, but again he's just not getting into the cue ball. Needs to get that dig to get that cue ball out of that hole, and now he's left with a bank on the 8 ball. And he's played that all wrong as well. That was really poor. I mean, that's a sort of 8 out of 10 bank every day of the week, that 8 ball, and he never got that lined up at all. And it's costing him. I mean, he could be 4-0 up here, but it's now going to be 2 racks all. It's really far too much inconsistency here, and that's what's well, that's the root cause of my problems. So I'm one to be critical. I mean, that's the biggest problem I've got, is inconsistency, but this is what we're seeing here, is inconsistency. And that's what's costing racks. So rack number 5. And the 9 ball has gone down and been respotted, I believe. And Hazard has not a very inviting shot on this 1 ball. That's fairly ugly, but again, got a reasonable safety. Could bank that cue ball over towards the 4 at the top rail. And now he's miscued. And he's given ball in hand to Black Jagged with a possible 1-9 combo, which I would suggest is worth having a go, because is he going to be consistent enough to try and run this table? We're going to find out. Well, this is at far too far a distance here, but plenty of room to go over for the 3. And now there's a major problem. 4 ball is blocked off, and trying to get back to that 4 in any sort of way to get a pot is nigh on impossible. So now you can play the billiard. That looks a good billiard. The billiard off the 4, cue ball onto the 5, and he got it too thin. Now this time, this is a nice angle on the 4. It's into a blind pocket, but it's a nice angle because it's easy to get on the 5. And the 6 is sitting there, and so is the 8. So this rack should be over, and all of a sudden, Black Jagged, having so many chances early on and blowing them, is more than likely going to find himself trailing now. And I would suggest that the more consistent player is going to be Hazard, because he's getting to play a lot more than what Black Jagged is. Work permitting, Hazard certainly plays a lot more of the game than Black Jagged does, and that's more than likely what can decide this match, is that little bit more consistency. So Hazard goes into the lead, and we're into rack number 6. And the break is dry. Now you see, my first instinct with this table set up here is looking to play a decent safety, whereas Black Jagged just looking to bang the 1 in and then hope for the best. You've got to weigh up the pros and cons and play a percentage shot. You just cannot simply keep going for pots, because look what's happening. All he's done there is he's given Hazard a start, albeit not an easy one. Just because you can see a ball doesn't mean you have to keep going for the pot. Well, Hazard has scratched, so immediately it's gone back to Black Jagged with ball in hand. Now again, it's not going to be simple. Look at where that 7 ball is. The 7 and 8 are set as a combo up in that top corner, so that's what you should be immediately thinking about when you pot the 5 and getting a shot onto the 6. Well, he's had to bank the 4. That needs to have legs, and it's going to get there just and no more. So now there's another problem. He's gone 2 straight in the 5, and he's got the same power problem here, and he's got it nailed. That needs to keep going, and it's gone too far. And now the issue is that if he goes for it into that pocket, he's more than likely going to scratch. So now he's had to try and cut it in the middle. He's comboed the 7 onto the 8, and now he's got no shot in the 6. And now where's the safety here? He could try a bank and hope that he knocks the 7 in, and then he might get lucky and do that. Oh, he's riding his luck there. Well, he's still got the 7 and 9 to get, so he needs to go forward and out and not too hard, because he could run into this left middle pocket. Oh, he's got that okay. So somehow or other, Blackjack has managed to win that rack, but he's got out of jail 2 or 3 times there. Good evening, Bedhead. So rack number 7, 3 ball goes in, but well, there's a result in already, and DJ Redo has beaten Spectre Dawn by 7 racks to 2. What was the handicap in that one? Where are we? Yeah, DJ Redo was getting a 5 ball. Now DJ Redo can pop balls, and that's always going to be a problem when he's just having to get to the 5 ball, because anybody that shows any reasonable consistency to pot a ball, been given the 5 ball, has got a very strong chance. And so Spectre Dawn is going to have to work from the 1 loss side. That match is going pretty quickly. So Hazard has the opportunity here to get back into the lead, and he really should do. Well, if he plays this plain ball, he'll be running very close to the 8. He needs to come over. You see, that's the problem. Well, he's got a nice little nudge. And now, perfect angle on the 8. Quick look at the 9 ball, see how close to the rail it is. Think he should be fine. Yeah, that's okay. So Hazard goes back into the lead. And that's another dry break. A shot on the 1. 2 ball is hidden behind a 3 ball defensive line up there, and he's managed to get there. He's judged the pace in that well. Well, he could just roll through for the 3 into the right middle. He's came out for the 3, and now he's going to have to work the cue ball to hold for that 4. And that's okay so far. Needs to miss the 7. Oh, that's going to be ugly. He's tight in the rail, can only get to the top of the cue ball. and can't get onto the 7 from that position unless he just rolls the 6 in and goes to the side rail. Try and hold it as much he can. Now this shot, if he gets lucky and just plays the pot, he doesn't need to thump this in, but he can get the billiard off the 9 and that'll hold him that side of the table. Well, you see, he's hit it too hard, but he's okay though. He's got away with it. And now he can just roll through. Well, I'd be rolling through that. I don't know whether he can avoid the scratch. And that's what he's thinking about. He should have just rolled through an inch or so to about there, and he would have had a pot and a 9. If he was playing it gentle and just a soft roll through, he wouldn't have scratched in the middle. And why he felt he had to play that with that sort of power, I don't know. But he's left Hazard the jump shot, and he's actually, I think, left spin on the cue ball there. He should have potted that one, so Black Jagged might be getting out of jail again here. That needs to keep running, and that will do. So we are tied up again. 4 racks all. Six ball thought about going in. 4 ball has eventually gone in. And he's sitting very nicely on the 1. And, well, that's terrible. Again, took his eye off the object ball, thinking about the 2 and forgot to pot the 1. These are just careless misses here. And the question is whether Hazard can take any advantage of it. Well, that was far too thin to actually try and cut, so he just played the safety, but the reverse bank is on. Might as well go for it. I think that might just get there. It might. Oh. It's just died over the pocket. But look at where the 2 ball is, so it's a big deep draw, and I hope to get a sight on this 2 ball. And that's going to hook. Is it? No, I think he's okay. Needs to watch if he's just going again. There's a danger of the scratch here in the middle pocket. If he tries to avoid it, and he's got away with it. Where's the cue ball? This is another one where you just totally concentrate on the 3 ball, because the cue ball's going to come over to the right anyway. It's all about pace. You're going to have a shot in the 5 one way or another, unless the cue ball runs up behind the 9. And if anything, he's underhit that slightly, because I don't think you want to really be playing the 5 long, but it will do. So it just means he's going to either stun it in or run through and go around the corner. He's going to try and draw behind it. Let's see what happens. Well, this time surely it's a 7 ball in the left middle. So Hazard looks like he's got this one sewn up. And once again though, Black Jagged didn't take his chance when he got it. And Hazard now with the break. 5 ball goes in. Oh, he's left himself a thin one on the 1 ball. And he's totally the wrong side to get onto that too. There's a result through. WizKid has beaten Alicia B by 7 racks to 1. And Hazard looking to keep it safe, but well, he has got partial cover, but that one ball will go past the 2. And in it goes, and a shot on the 2 as well. And this really, for Black Jagged, really has to take advantage of this and clear this table. And again, missing the 2 ball. That wasn't a difficult shot, because again, you didn't really have to do anything with the cue ball other than pot the 2. You were always going to have a shot in the 3. And it's another chance it's got away. And the 3 ball goes past the 7, no problem. And this is what I was talking about consistency and the amount of table time someone's getting. That cue ball needs to slow up here. Well, that's gone away. Well, maybe Hazard is still looking to find his pace because he's overhit that, and now he's just got a kick and hope. And almost managed to kick that in, but he's got it safe. Black Jagged can only do the same thing, just give it a kick and hope. Hope it goes safe or hope it goes in. And this is a delicate little shot because you've still got to play this with a bit of inside English to try and get that cue ball across the table over towards that 9 ball to give yourself a potting angle in the 6. And while you're thinking about that, you've still got to pot the 4. So this is really tough. And he's played that very well indeed. That's perfect. Well, the worst thing he can do here is leave himself close to the rail. He's got an angle just to stun the 6 in and get that cue ball out into the table. Now let's have a look behind this 7. Well, this is one of these wee draggy draw shots that you can draw to the side railing out for this 8 as long as you go high enough. And he's far too much juice in that. And this is where, on that shot there, he was way too deep in the cue ball and got overreaction in the cue ball. Now he's left himself in a hole. And it's gone away, and what's more, he's scratched. Now that shot there, that the previous shot there, a lot of players don't do it, but you can play that stunny, draggy draw shot just below the equator of the cue ball, and that way you don't get that overreaction in the spin, and you've got to be confident enough to have a go at it. And that's why he ran out of shape, and that's why Black Jagged has managed to pinch that one back, and we're back all square. So mistakes are coming from both sides, and it's touch and position and control of the cue ball that's letting players down. And that's what it's all about. Doesn't matter what billiard game you play, it's whoever's got the best touch and control that's usually the most consistent. And that break is dry. And Hazard, this time, didn't get into the cue ball enough. And now he's again in no man's land. No chance of getting in the 3, so played the sensible shot for the safety. And Black Jagged out with the jump stick, and he might even be able to nudge that 8 ball in. Well, he missed the 8 ball with the 2, but he's got the most important thing. He's got it reasonably safe. Now, there's a path between that 9 and the 6 to get that 2 ball through there, or he can go for the cut and get the cue ball back up the table, which is what he's done. And now he's got the 3. Oh, that's unlucky. That is unlucky. I thought that was just going to hang up on that point of the pocket there. There's another result through. Snakes has beaten LS3 by 7 racks to 3. Meanwhile, Black Jagged with ball in hand has played an awful combo on the 3-8, and he really should have knocked that in. I mean, there was no... I mean, the distance wasn't that great, and the fact that the 8 ball was adjacent to the pocket, he really should have got that. And that might be just the fact he just didn't take enough time to study the shot. So we're getting repeat after repeat the same thing. Chances have been given, and as quick as they've been given, they've been thrown away. And so Hazard at the table with the chance to take the lead again. Yeah, I mean, you've got a shot clock of what, 30 seconds and then 15-second extension. And when you're set up with a combo like that, which, let's be honest, even I could have got that combo, you've got to just take your time and get it set. And a lot of players are just in far too much of a hurry to do things, and they don't think enough. So Hazard with the tough shot here. It's all too simple to pot the 8. Now, the safest method here is to overhit this and draw it, and draw it onto that top rail and back up the table. You've got to have a shot in the 9. That's the safest way to do it, is just overhit it like that. And now if it spins the right way, which it hasn't, he would have had a shot in the 9 no problem. So now it's going to have to be either a very nasty cut or more likely the double bank possibly. But this to take him to the hill. And it's not gone in either. And it's a gift for Black Jagged. Well, both of these players are going to need a money ball or two if they're going to go any distance in the tournament. But what's more important is, if they are, there's no point in being given a money ball if you can't make the use of them when you get opportunities, and that is to pot a wee bit more consistently. So the break has come up dry. Hazard looking for cover, and I would say that's pretty good cover. Not a difficult one to hit. He might even pot this one if he gets it right. Just got it too thin. But the table isn't set up pretty here for a run out anyway. And there's another result through. Miasma has beaten Rico by 7 racks to 4. So a lot of the first round matches are over and done with. And we're looking to see if Hazard can take this all the way. He has a chance at the moment, but as I say, it's not going to be anything too easy where that 3, 6 and 7 are sitting. Now again, with this 3 ball, this 2 ball, I'm potting either, well, he's played the safety on the 2, but I would have either potted the 2 and then played the safety off the 3 at 6.5 a dozen. But in that situation, that's where you have to just look at the lay of the table and say, well, I can't do anything with it. So what's the point in trying doing something stupid? Get a sensible safety shot in and leave the problem to the other player. And that's the right thing to do. And now if Black Jagged Well, once he hit this too, he's got no problem. But ideally, if he can kick this full in the face, he can leave a problem for Hazard. He needs to get that with the spin. And once again, he's made a complete balls of that. I don't know what the hell he tried there. I mean, look at the gap off the rail. An easy shot to get in behind with a bit of spin and hit that 2-ball full in the face, send it up the table and leave the cue ball there. I would question if Boris isn't already on his second bottle of wine. Judging by that shot he's just played. Well, still get that problem with this 6-ball. There's nothing set there as a combo, so the angle he's got in the 5, he might even be able to draw in off the rail here and nudge something. Well, he's decided not to bother, but if he's going to try and pot that, he's got a lot of work to do. This is tough. It's tough, but where does he go safe though? That's the problem. Might as well go all out for it. And that is extremely unlucky. A great cut on that 6. And it's given Black Jagged ball in hand now. Can he run 3 balls to win this match? Ball in hand on the 7. Where's this cue ball going? That's okay. And it looks as if this is all over because it's just a gentle roll through on the 8. And then he should be sitting pretty on the 9. Well, he's decided to roll around the corner. He didn't need to. He's still got to get the 9 though. And in it goes eventually. And Black Jagged has won the match by 7 racks to 5, but I mean it could have went either way in the end. There was too many missed chances. But it takes him through, and Hazard goes over to the 1 loss side. Black Jagged wins by 7 racks to 5. We've got an awful lot of results come through. So if we look at the bracket, we can see that Houdini and Simanx are still playing. They're playing scratch. 5-4 to Houdini. Black Jagged is waiting on the winner of that match. And it's more than likely he's going to be given some sort of a handicap in that match. And what else? We've got Larry given 5 and out to Capo. Larry's currently up 4-2. And the winner of that match will play Snakes. We've got Phoenix 5-1 up against Dom. Winner of that will play DJ Redo. We've got Miasma against WizKid. And Miasma is 1 rack to 0 up. And then, of course, on the 1 loss side, there's nothing happening apart from the Rico Alicia B match, which is just starting. And, well, let's have a look and see what's happening here in this match with Phoenix. I don't think I've seen any of these 2 players, or if I have, I can't remember. But anyway, player 1 is Phoenix, and he or she is getting the 8 ball. Oh, I don't know about that. It's just sometimes it's so frustrating watching some players. they're just, you know, a lot of the time there's players where they're sort of 1 or 2 levels short. I mean, of where they could be if they just used a bit of thought. So both these players are reasonably, well, fairly reasonably matched. And what is our no, there's 100 and I can't count. Is that 105 points or 112 points or 115 points between the two of them? Yeah, I think it's 115. That's why player 1 is getting the 8 ball, but Dom is at the table. And this could well be the way this match has been going. Dom's been getting chances like that, missing them, and then Phoenix is just coming to the table and potting a couple of balls to win the rack. And it looks as if Phoenix has gone. I think we've maybe got a connection problem here. Yeah, we have got nothing happening. And we're just waiting in the message pop up. Well, my biggest problem, there it is now. My biggest problem with this game now is that my brain knows what I want to do. I just can't do it now. That's my problem. My brain has an idea of what I want to do, but it's actually doing it. And doing it to any level of consistency, it just doesn't happen. Well, we'll give this a minute or so. Now, a player that disconnects during a match, I think it's. Did I read 10 minutes on that tournament information? I thought it was a 5-minute timeout that you had. If you don't make the deadline time, that might be the deadline for your match, but I think the timeout is 5 minutes. At least I thought it was. I'll need to read that a bit more. But if Phoenix doesn't get back in the room, it will time out, and Dom will get the win, and Phoenix will move over to the 1-loss side. But I don't think they want to be doing that when they're leading six racks to 3. Oh, here we go. We're back in. And I don't think they can see enough of that 6 to cut it. Doesn't look like it. Let's have a look. No. Well, this is a chance for Dom again. And it's a little gentle one in this 6 ball. You don't want to let the cue ball run away, because you see that there, again, is just evidence of a player just not thinking enough. There was an angle there, but is there enough there to actually hold that? But he's run around the table, still has a shot in the 7. And the 8 just squeezes past the 9. And remembering that Dom can't afford a miss, because Phoenix is getting that 8 ball. And he's once again sent it into the rail, but got away with it. I mean, quite a lot of the players in Virtual Pool 4, I mean, these players are an example. You don't see them here every day, and that's probably the biggest thing that's lacking for a lot of players, is table time to sight the shots, because the more you play, the more autopilot kicks in, where you can line up a shot a lot easier. So you have to say that in a bit of defence of the players because they're missing shots, and that was probably the same for Black Jagged in that last match. He just does not get to play enough. Now Dom, once again, has the cut on the 7, but I keep saying it, he just cannot afford to leave it on if he misses it. But this time he has done, and if Phoenix can pot the 7 and get that cue ball around and out into the heart of the table, they'll have a shot in the 8 for the match. Well, they've banked the 8, the 7. Well, that's another reason. Phoenix has potted the 8 and won the match 7 racks to 3. Now that is probably there's no doubt in my mind that there are far more players with Virtual Pool 4 playing offline for the same reasons as everybody else is, and that's simply because they get instant satisfaction playing offline. They're playing, they can set the game to whatever way they want it. They can set the level of AI opponent to whatever way they want it, and they end up just playing numpty AI players who bang the ball every time they hit a ball, and they end up getting the instant gratification of beating them, whereas they don't actually want to take their game to any sort of higher level by playing online and trying to learn a bit more. Anyway, we've got that result through. Let's have a look at the bracket and see how things have gone. Well, it looks as if Larry has a bit of a problem with this handicap against Capo, because it's now tied up 4 racks all, and we're going to have to go in and watch that match and see how it finishes. And we all know, if you watched this before, well, Capo has missed the kick on the 3, and Larry's now got ball in hand. Of course, it's the same situation for Larry. He cannot afford to miss anything here, or Capo will just come in and pinch the rack. Well, the most frustrating thing is coming up against somebody like Capo in a tournament like this, where in any other time, any other day of the week, Larry wins the match every time. But the Moneyball handicapping puts that pressure on Larry to be consistent and not miss at the wrong time. And the wrong time for Larry is anywhere up once you get to the 5 ball, because he knows he's losing the rack virtually. And there he's created a problem for himself. He's run out of line on the 6 ball, and he's now going to have to try and dig himself out a hole. And he's managed to get the jump, and that cue ball needs to slow up. And now this is where it might have been going wrong for Larry, not having watched any of the match, but this is exactly where it can go wrong. He's going to have to play a thin cut, or he's going to have to bank this, and it has to go. And he's managed to get it and got the lead. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't see players here, maybe because I don't spend an awful lot of time looking at them, but I don't see players where you can say, oh, aye, they're progressing, they're getting better. Because if you remember, I mean, I remember back when VP3 went online, And I mean, there was guys there, and I mean, I played it day in, day out. Really put the hours back in that time, but that was when I had time to do that. Now I can't. But I always say the same thing, so that any player who plays in real life or has played in real life can bring what they know to this game. But if you see players that play so badly at this game, and then suddenly they tell you, "Oh, I used to play in an 8-ball league, and I used to play in this league," and you think to yourself, well, if you used to play in real life, surely to goodness you learnt something that you could bring to the game, because very often you don't see much evidence of it. Good evening. So Larry has now got himself out of line again on this 3-ball and just looking to hide. And that will do. Or maybe it won't. I didn't think that Capo could see that 3-ball. I wish I'd went round and looked, but he's managed to get the 3. He certainly won't be getting the 4. And now Larry's got ball in hand. Popman, when you were playing in that, what was it, that money match the other night there, or last night, there was a shot you had, and it was a shot where I'm thinking, as if I was commentating, I'm thinking, well, all he needs to play is a stun. He's got the angle. In fact, it was a shot here, it was like that 4-ball where the cue ball was there, and all you had to do was pot the 4, and this, I think it was like the 9, you had the angle, and all you had to do was pot the 4 and use the stun off the rail to come up. And what did you do? You went off the rail with draw, but then again you missed the pot and the 4 anyway. Things like that are where you have to know. I mean, it has to become autopilot that you have an angle. So when you have that angle, all you need to do is use the stun power of the cue ball with the angle to come off the rail. You don't need to try and do crazy things with the cue ball. And that was, in fact, see, after that shot that you missed, I don't think he's got another shot. I don't think he's got another shot in that match. I think you lost the rest of the match. But wee instances like that, I mean, look at that 8-ball, right? That 8-ball there, let's have a look. You see, there's enough angle on there to stun that firm and get the cue ball anywhere up here for a shot in the 9, or you can go forward and around. You've always just got to look at what you've got and think about what's the simplest way to get this cue ball in a good position. So Larry's went around and up, and anywhere up by the middle pockets, you have a shot in the 9, no problem. You're now called Owlman. Now, how did you get that handle? Are you going to change it in VP4? Oh dear, that could be a disaster. Larry's broken, scratched, and given ball in hand to Capo. Now, what kind of... Well, I suppose the only saving grace here is that the 1 ball is in an awkward place to play any sort of combo. But Capo's getting 5 and out, remember. And I think he's fallen asleep, or he's lost his connection as well. And probably not paying attention, didn't even know that he had ball in hand. That's another thing about when you're playing. Don't get yourself distracted by screaming kids over your shoulder, or the wife nattering at you. And then when you go back and look at the screen, you play a shot when you don't realise you've got ball in hand. Something like that. Yeah, I think Capo's queue hasn't appeared now, and it looks as if the connection is getting a bit brittle here. Yeah, there you go. Commentator's sensitivity there told me his connection was beginning to go down. I was watching a programme on iPlayer, I think it was, and it was about the Earth's journey around the Sun during the year. And I didn't know that in January, in January in the Northern Hemisphere, the Earth is actually 5 million miles closer to the Sun than it is any other time during the year. Of course, the reason why that we have winter at that time in January, and that we're not warmer because we're 5 million miles closer to the Sun, is because the Earth is tilted on its axis, and as it rotates around the Sun, at that point in January, we're 5 million miles closer to the Sun, but the Northern Hemisphere is tilted away from the Sun, which is why you've got darkness for like 3 months north of the Arctic Circle. There you go. That's how you learn. You watch these programmes and you learn something. I'll never forget that now. And I'll bore people by telling them that every so often. But the other curious thing is that they also explained as to why in our latitude, the same latitude down south in South America, why is it that down there they've got glaciers running down the mountainsides at the same latitude that we are, yet we don't have any glaciers here? But they also explained that, but I forgot how that worked. And I think the other thing they said, that on average that part of the world is about 4 degrees colder than what we are at the same latitude, which is why they've got glaciers sticking in the mountains. Anyway, Capo really needs to actually shut down the PC and restart it, or restart the router or whatever it is they have, because it'll just keep being unstable. It needs probably a refresh. But where we are in the match is, I think Larry's lost interest altogether here. I think he's just wanting it to be over one way or another. Unless I'm out of sync, but I'm sure that was Larry played that shot, and I'm sure that was Capo played that shot. And that's what's annoying. Capo bangs the one ball around the table and ends up hooking Larry. Oh, and the cue ball's going to scratch. Oh dear, there's a disaster. And it's a disaster now because Capo, again, if they're paying attention, has ball in hand. And we're going to have a slap bang at this. It's either going to be a 1-7 combo or a 1-9. And whoa, I thought the 5 was eventually going to go in, but in the end, nothing's gone. And Larry has his chance. And the only problem ball is going to be that 7 ball, because you've got to get from the 6 to the 7, and you've got to really get it on the right side of the 7. So when potting this 6, when he's missed a 3, well, that is now a disaster. Because surely, excuse me, I've got the hiccup. Surely Capo just rolls a 3 in. Well, I think he's done everything he can to block himself out in the 5. Well, there you go. We're now all square into a final rack decider. Capel with a soft break with his house cue. Nothing's gone in. There's a result through from the one loss side. And Rico has beaten Alicia B. There's a 13 in YouTube. That's a record. There's nobody on Facebook. I don't think I've seen anybody on Facebook. Well, Larry's got his troubles here as well. He can certainly find a little gap there, a little nudge onto the 9, but his problem is getting on the 5. And he's playing this with the left inside English to check that top rail. Check the top rail and go that way. And now he's going to have to try and stun across and nudge the 6 here and maybe hope for the best. Now, has he got an angle to get there? Oh, he's played that well. That's worked out very nice. And he's going to have to be gentle here as well. Well, I think in all honesty that I'm pretty fair with most players. And I think if most players watch it, unless I pick it up wrong, it's the same with any commentator. I'm sure most of the players in the telly watching, snooker in the telly, think of one thing different from what the commentator's trying to think that they're doing. But I think in most cases I'm pretty fair in how I would assess how somebody's played a certain shot. Or at least I try to be. Anyway, Larry should have the match showing up. And I bet he's relieved that's over. So Larry has eventually got through. And, well, where have we got to now in this tournament? Right. We've got Spectre Dawn playing Dom, and Dom is getting 6 and out, and Spectre Dawn is 2 racks to 1 up, so that's another, and it's only race to 4, remember, so that's another touch and go match there. Meanwhile, we are into round 2. On the winner's side, we've got Simanx, who's getting a 7 ball and is 5-0 up against Black Jagged. And we've got Larry about to play Snakes. Phoenix 3-0 up against DJ Redo. Phoenix getting 7 and out. And Miasma is tied at 4 racks all with WizKid. Now, let's go in and see what the hell is happening in this match. Because we know that Simanx likes to have a smack at the balls. So Black Jagged trailing 5-zip. Wide open table. And now looking for the slow roll in on the 6. And the roll through. Well, he should really go forward and out with this cue ball. That needs to keep going out. And the reason for that is he needs to, and that's perfect, he needs to have that angle to pot this 8 ball down in the bottom left hand corner, and the cue ball naturally comes across. So this gets Black Jagged on the board. Yeah, Larry won that final rack decider. And Black Jagged breaks off in rack number 7. And the 5 ball has gone. Now look at where that 2 and 9 ball are up the top of the table. And he's filled the 4. And if he's filled the 4 like I think he has, that's match over. No, he hasn't. I thought he'd actually fouled the 4 ball there. Because that would have been a total disaster. But it's still a situation where Black Jagged, in the position that he is in the match, he has to be careful where he leaves that 1 ball. And that should be the paramount thing that's in your mind when you're trying to play a safe, or if not, pot the 1 and get rid of the 2. Because the 9 ball is very adjacent to that corner pocket. Well, that isn't potting at that angle. Going for the kick. So, it's ball in hand. And the biggest problem, of course, if Black Jagged gets that far, is where the 7 ball is. 7 balls blocked out by the 9. It's not a combo. And he's going to hook himself behind the 8 ball here. And now there is a major problem, because if he doesn't move this 3 ball and completely misses it, he's given ball in hand. Well, at least he's moved it. Now, what's he left? I think he's okay. I don't know. I don't think there's enough of that to, unless you spin around the 6 slightly to make a potting angle. But he's played the next best thing, and that now is an even bigger problem for Black Jagged, because there's no way he's jumping that, and he's going to struggle to find an angle to get to that 3 ball. And if I was him, I would actually just bank that cue ball onto the 9 and give ball in hand, because that it's going to be ball in hand anyway if he doesn't get there, and this rack will be over. Yep, I would have actually went for the kick on the 9 ball and played a deliberate foul to just move the 9 ball and make it that Simanx had to actually do something to win the rack, rather than just giving ball in hand like that with the 3 ball. And that's another instance where the player isn't thinking. You've got to think logically. You've got to be a Mr. Spock. The 9 ball's there, the 3 ball's there, and you can't get to the 3 ball. It's virtually impossible to get to it. So what's the easiest thing to do? Play the bank there, and at least try and either knock the 9 in or hit the 9 and move it, and make it more difficult. Make your opponent do more work to get the run out. And he didn't think about that, and that's why now it's 6-1. And another result through. WizKid has won by 7 racks to 4. Meanwhile, Black Jagged, I think, tried to pot the 2, but he's comboed the 4 in. That needs to keep running. And he's okay. And no problem other than leaving a nice angle in this 3 for the 5, and that will do. Now this needs a little bit of draw just to help this cue ball over to the left, and again he's completely taken his eye off the ball here. You've got to get the object ball first. The cue ball will do the rest, and shots like that, I mean, we've seen far too many of them tonight so far from Black Jagged. And this is frittering away racks. And it's frittering away the match, because Simanx just needs to roll in the 7. And Black Jagged is going to move through to the 1 loss side. Simax wins by 7 racks to 1. So, let's have a look. And we can see the brackets updated already. And Larry is now playing Snakes and giving Snakes the 5 ball. That's still a generous handicap, that, because there's no doubt that's a step up in class compared to Capo. Phoenix is 4 racks to 2 up against DJ Redo. And Miasma, WizKid has just won that match. And now, I missed that result coming through there. Spectre Dawn has beaten Dom 94, 4 racks to 1. I missed that result. And Black Jagged's now about to play Rico. And I'll say that again. Houdini and Hazard are playing in the 1-loss side. Let's jump in and see the rest of this match. Because Hazard is giving Houdini the 6 ball. Hazard 3 racks to 2 up. It's only a race to 4. Houdini banks the 1. No shot in the 2. Now, is there an edge of that 2 for the billiard onto the 9? I think there is. You know that? I think there is. I think that's a very good guide. Oh, he's hit the 7. But there was a possibility. But now Hazard has got ball in hand. He should be knocking the 2 onto the 9 to win the match. And then it goes. So that's the end of that match. Hazard wins it by 4 racks to 2. And Larry is now 2 racks to 0 up against Snakes. And we'll get Miasma. Sorry, not me. I keep saying Miasma. We've got WizKid waiting on the winner of that Phoenix DJ Redo match. And we've got Larry playing Snakes. And the only other match that's matches that are on are the Hazard Miasma match about to start, and Black Jagged playing Rico, and nothing else will happen until Larry's result comes through against Snakes. So now what handicap's going here? We've got Rico. What the hell ball's he getting? I'm leaning right over in front of my monitor and I still can't see it. Is that the 5 ball? Well, that's a hefty handicap for Black Jagged in that match. And Miasma is getting a 6 ball in that match. Right, let's see what happens in this one. It's 5-2 in the winner's side here to Phoenix. And Phoenix is getting a 7 ball. And we can see that there is 340 points difference between the 2 players. And the big difference is that 7, sorry, it's not the 7 ball, it's 7 and out is getting, or she's getting. Oh, this is a shot. If you get it right, you can leave your opponent stuck behind the 3. And Phoenix didn't get any spin on that, which is why they didn't kick into the 1. So ball in hand for DJ Redo. And, well, we know where the problem lies. The problem lies with the 3 ball. It's in an awkward place next to that 7. And DJ Redo has played the combo on the 9. to get one back. Well, it's interesting how Phoenix said that he keeps snookering me. Well, the whole idea using common sense is you have to try and make it as difficult for an opponent who you're giving 7 and out to. You've got to make it as difficult for them as you can. Right, that's a good idea. It's always good to mute an asshole. Let's just do that. Yeah, again, if I was in DJ Redo's position, apart from making it as awkward as possible, I'd be doing my best to frustrate my opponent. You know, once you find out their weakness, if an opponent says something like that to me in a match, what do you think I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be roughing them up as much as I can, and totally frustrating them. Once you find that weak point, you keep pressing it. And that is a sign of weakness straight away as soon as I start saying stuff like that. But anyway, the most important thing here for DJ Redo is that he doesn't make a mistake here. Like that. You see, that is just something where you take your time. You've got a huge table area to get the cue ball out to get on the 9, and you're gifting chances to your opponent, and luckily the opponent isn't good enough to take those chances. That's what you don't want to be relying on. And I don't think that cuts at that angle. Or does it? Let's have a look. Oh, that goes in all day long. That's perfect. Just don't scratch. Don't scratch like that. Oh dear. Well, I think DJ Redo, in all honesty, has played a big part in his downfall. And then again, ball in hand, and a player can't put a straight 8 ball in, then you've got to think at 5-3 down you're going to win this match. That was really, really poor. Now that's the type of play. I mean, again, we don't know what age this person is. I think I might have been told that she was female, but it just shows you somebody doesn't want to apply any common sense whatsoever to the way they play. And all, you know, DJ Redo, if he just plays common sense, keeps it tight, should win this match even at 5-4 down. Now, I don't know why Alicia's messaging me, because I'm loath to answer PMs when I'm live streaming. It's not wise to send me PMs when I'm live streaming. Well, that's going to be ball in hand. Well, that was just, again, there's a stupid shot as well. And like I say, DJ Redo's playing probably as big a part in this as anybody. Playing a shot like that, that's just a total hit and hope that you knock the 9 in, and there wasn't even a pocket for it. And look at what might happen here. And this is the other problem, though. You can sometimes get yourself dragged into slapping balls about just like your opponent. You know, look at that. And this is where you just, you know, whenever you're at the table, you keep to your own style of playing, and don't get yourself involved in a banging match, because that's what it's now turning out to be. I bet there's no 13 people watching this on YouTube anymore. I can tell you that. They'll have gone back to Fortnite where there's about 3,000 people watching it or something like that. Oh, well, you've got to go all out for this one. Get the top and the right English on it, and don't scratch. That's the rule with this one. Well, he's got the cue ball in the right place, but missed the pot because of it. And Phoenix just needs to roll the 7 in, and not even lining the shot up properly. That's how you can miss a ball with little or no angle to actually pot it, is simply by not looking at it. And that's somebody I wouldn't like to play, where they're not even wanting to. I thought I muted them. Does it run out of time? I thought I ignored them. Now, what the hell happened here? That was weird. Because all of a sudden, that Phoenix person that I muted, the chat started coming through. And the other thing is that I'd set the tablecloth colour to blue, and now it's gone back to green. And when I actually pressed on the tab there to mute them again, the bloody game crashed. There's a bug and a half. And I'm glad I've got that in video. What am I doing here? Default colour, blue. Well, that's killed the stream on Twitch, because the thing about Twitch is that they don't give you any timeout between a stream going down and restarting your stream and keeping the stream going. YouTube do that. YouTube has like a timeout of a minute or so, so that if you lose your connection and you keep the stream going, you can it's seamless. It will join on and it doesn't create two separate streams. But if you look at Twitch, Twitch will now have two streams that I've done. The one that I've done up until now and the one that I've just started. That's a good thing about YouTube, is that this will all stay on the one stream, and I'll have the one video at the end of it. And goodness knows what the hell happens to Facebook. I don't know. Look at this 9 ball. Well, the 9 ball has been fluked. Yeah, but if you look at my channel on Twitch, Slim, you'll now have whatever we done. That's like 2.5 hours on the first video, and now it's created a second live stream. The other one is now finished, and now this one's just started. But if you go to YouTube and look at my videos tomorrow, YouTube will only have one video for this tournament. Because it, as I say, it gives you a timeout time to get back into the stream without it killing the stream stone dead. Twitch doesn't do that, which is a bad thing. Anyway, doesn't matter. In fact, I'm going to try muting this person again. Let's see what happens then this time. Because they were muted and should remain muted until... In fact, they're probably unmuted because my game crashed. That's probably what it was. Well, Black Jagged has been playing his one loss side match. Rico has won that match 4 racks to 1. DJ Redo's at the table trailing 6-5. Excuse me, I'm going to click on that to get to the bracket. And let's have a look and see where we are. Set that to 30 seconds. So the run out is required here. Now that needs to not go as straight as that. That's now making it more of a problem. Well, he's managed to get the angle. That's a good shot. So just to roll in to take us all the way. And DJ Redo breaking off in the 13th and final rack in this, what is it, a round 2 match? Six ball goes in. No shot in the 1. I suppose there is a chance of creating a combo with the 1, skim the 1 onto the 4 and cut it onto the 3. Well, he just tried a slam at it. I'm just wondering what other results I missed when that went down there. Spectre Dawn, he won that match. And Hazard is 2-1 down against Miasma, given the 6 ball. Larry is 6-2 up against Snakes. and we're waiting on the result of this match. So ball in hand to Phoenix. And all of a sudden, they're now taking their time, but not taking their time long enough. And DJ Redo, well, that was not a good shot again. Trying to play the combo on a 5-9, but shouldn't be nowhere near it that way. In fact, that's going to hang over the pocket. Well, Phoenix might as well have a blast at the bank here. I think anything can happen here. Can reverse bank the 5, could try and billiard the cue ball onto the 9. That's what he's tried. He's missed that and left. Well, has he left a shot in this 5? Yes, he has. And this time, it's a 7 ball for the match. And so DJ Redo is going to have to do all the hard work on the one loss side. Phoenix wins that match 7 racks to 6. And probably not the best advert for Virtual Pool 4. Right, so where exactly are we here? Well, we have Larry given 5 or 6 and out to Simanx. We've got Phoenix about to play WizKid and getting the 8 ball in that match. We've got Hazard at 2 racks all with Miasma, and we've got Spectre Dawn about to play Snakes, and Snakes is getting a 6 ball. And I think that's the match we want to watch on the one loss side, if we can find it. That's it there. Spectre Dawn is in the chat, and they'll be lagging off. Just about to lag off. Haven't a clue who's who. And Spectre Dawn has won the lag. We're race to 4 on the one loss side, and Snakes is getting a 6 ball. Now Snakes, well, he's sitting there with a 2084. In fact, his rating's better than my 9 ball rating. And he can make use of this 6 ball. He certainly can. And with a table like this, it's a perfect opportunity to do it. Well, look at how far short he left himself on that 2 ball. Didn't get into the cue ball at all, and has left the 1 hung up. And chances like that have to be, you have to be making more use of those when you're only in a race to 4, because somebody like Spectre Dawn is going to take the chances when they're there. It's going to have to be a bank on the 3 though. And that's going to be the problem for Snakes. capable enough to pop balls, but if you just cannot get that first shot executed and get yourself on the run, it might be your best chance you're going to get in a race to 4. It can be over in the blink of an eye. Well, the further that goes up the table, the simpler it is from the 8 to the 9, and that looks simple enough. So, Snakes had a chance. It came and went. Spectre Dawn gets a chance, and he's won the table, and that's the difference. And that's one of them sort of dead feeling breaks. I mean, they've actually spread not too bad, but it's come up dry, and it's again first chance to Snakes, and the 2 ball is only a combo, so the wrong angle in the 1 doesn't help either. And he's played that well, but he's actually gone too far, so now it's a sort of blind cut combo onto that 5, and that needs to keep bouncing that cue ball, and that's not bad. Still trying to get into a line here, get into shape, and there's a result through. Miasma has beaten Hazard by 4 racks to 2, and meanwhile that's a nice kiss in the 3. But look at the 4 ball. Needs to come right down the bottom of the table here to leave that 4 into the right middle. Or a bank. Either or. But it's the only way they're going to get a pot on it. And if it slows up, it needs to slow up. Well, that's not bad. It's all out for the pot, and enough pace to come across the table for the 6. Oh, that was just never going to get there. I mean, you've got to play the right shot. I keep saying it. You're leaving yourself too high a cut. This is like a bedhead shot. Bedhead can pop balls from anywhere, but time and time again he leaves himself these high angle cuts. And that's just managed to go in, but we're still out of line. Well, what am I talking about? There we go. We've totally forgotten about the handicap again. He only needed a 6 ball. But that was important. That was an important one. Toilet Mum. That's a good one. Or maybe he means toilet moment. That's maybe what that abbreviation is. But that was an important opportunity there for Snakes, and he's taken it. And if he had played a better shot in that first rack, he might have been 2-0 up. Because he's already seen what Spectre Dawn will do if he gets a sniff. Meanwhile, while that's going on, we've got Capo at 1 rack all with DJ Redo on the 1 loss side. We've got this match going on. Rico's waiting on the winner of this match, and Miasma is waiting on the winner of that match. And on the winner's side, Larry's given 6 and out to Simanx. Larry's currently 2 racks to 0 up. And Phoenix is 1 rack all with WizKid. Well, Snakes' bathroom must be at the bottom of the garden. Well, we wait with bated breath to see if Snakes can find her way back from the bathroom, wherever that is in the house. Right, so we're into rack number 3. Snakes is taking care of their business. And the 4 ball has gone in a break. Shot in the 1. Nice angle to come across for the 2. And got to have that angle from the 2. And that... Now that's not bad, provided you play this with confidence enough to pot the 2 and stun across. Because that's the shot. The angle is there to stun across for the 3. And he's looking as if he's wanting to go top. Now, somebody tell me that 3 ball goes. That is not the shot to play. Never in a million years is a shot to try and leave yourself a combo in a 3-6. You've got to play the right shot, and the shot to play was a stun. Now, anybody who's played a game of billiards or pool knows that you've got the angle. Now, okay, he's got the combo, but that was not the right way. That's worked out this time, but 9 times out of 10 it never works out. When you've got a nice angle, you play the stun across for the 3, and then you do the rest. But of course, needing the 6 ball as a money ball, took the risk of leaving that long combo, but this time it worked. Any other time it won't work. But it's 2-1 to Snakes in a race to 4, so the pressure is now on Spectre Dawn. And Snakes is trying to hide that 1 ball. I don't think he's managed it. Nope. And there's work to do here for Spectre Dawn. And let's see how he goes about his business, because the 5 will go into the left middle, but again, it's only if you get good on it. And the 4's down the bottom end of the table here as we look. No, I can't. I can't stream till the end of the tournament. I'm back at work. So we're already at 10 minutes to 10 almost. And I'll be pulling the plug at 10:30 at the latest, because that's already past my bedtime. I've got to be up at the usual 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's the way it'll be now until October, which I think is, I get another week off. Well, Spectre Dawn's played the 5-6 combo and still sitting good on the 5. So that's that problem dealt with. And that's the difference when you step up in class. You've got players who've got a fair idea of what they're doing and how to do it. And when it works, they clear the table. And Snakes never got a sniff in that rack. So we're at 2 racks all. And DJ Redo has beaten Capo 4 racks to 1 on that 1 loss side. Spectre Dawn breaks and comes up dry. And once again, we've got the 3 very adjacent to the 6, but the difference this time is that that 3 goes. And while this is going on, let's keep an eye on what's happening in the winner's side. Well, Simanx has got 1 rack back, and Larry's still leading by 3 racks to 1. It's 3-1 to Phoenix against WizKid. And that's gone wrong. The billiard onto the 3 off the side rail has left it safe. And now it's just a kick. And he's missed that. And so now, with ball in hand, these are the times you have to take your chance. Now the biggest problem is being good enough on this 4, and that 4 goes. You've got to play it with a lot of inside to bring the cue ball back that way, and all you're looking for is an edge of that 5. So this is a very good chance. No, you don't need that amount of English on it. You just need enough. But he's got it. He's still sitting pretty here if he can get the cue ball out and away from that 8 ball. And this will give him the 1 rack and on the hill. And now Spectre Dawn at the point of no return. Four ball goes in. But luckily for Spectre Dawn, Snakes hasn't landed on the 1. And it's just going to be the push out. Now there's a danger here. He doesn't want to leave that cue ball up the top end, so he's played it down the bottom end, because if he'd left a sight on that, he could have left a 1-9 combo, albeit at a distance. But Spectre Dawn doesn't like the situation, so he's passed it back to Snakes. Oh, that's poor. Okay, it's travelled a bit further, but it's an easy bank on the 2. On the 1, sorry. Now it's going to have to be a good one on the 2. Let's have a look at the angle there. Well, that does cut back into the middle, but it's very thin. And to be honest with you, the scratch is really on playing that. So he's went for the cut down the rail, and that's unlucky. But I think he'll jump that and try and cut it in. But the same problem here, there's a risk of scratching. It's a short jump, but maybe he doesn't want to take that risk. Well, that's the worst possible outcome, is not hitting the 3, because Snakes is getting that 6 ball, and what's more, he's not even going to take that risk. He's going for the 3-9 combo for the match. And in it goes. Well, that was a major failure there by Spectre Dawn. The worst thing, the least thing you had to do was hit the 3 and move it. And he failed. And Snakes is through by 4 racks to 2. And that's how a match can just run away from you in a race to 4. So now, I don't think anything else will happen. DJ Redo is going to be playing Miasma, or they are playing, and Miasma is up by 1 rack to 0. But we're waiting on the results coming through from the winner's side. Well, we're actually waiting a couple of losers coming through from the winner's side. At the moment, Larry's 5 racks to 1 up against Simanx, and Phoenix is tied. Oh no, it's 3-2 to Phoenix and WizKid. Let's have a quick look in here, because I know how WizKid plays as well. There's another player that needs to slow down and think a wee bit more about what they're doing. And player 1 is getting the 8 ball. And well, WizKid has got the higher rating, but in all honesty, I don't think WizKid plays very much 9 ball. I think 2 of these players are more 8 ball players. Well, that's worked out nice. Now, can WizKid get these 3 remaining balls to square the match? Well, no attempt made to get anywhere near the 7. And he's played the bank. Needs a nice kiss in the 9. And that's nowhere near ideal. But that is a very nice cut in the 9. And that was a nice out by WizKid. Where's the cue ball going? Oh dear. Scratching the break. Ball in hand for Phoenix. I don't know what the hell is going on here. I mean, why would you take ball in hand and pot the 8 ball with it? Well, that's one reason, because player, I mean, I think there's one thing to be said there. is that that Phoenix doesn't know the rules of the game and doesn't know what the money ball does, because they've potted their own money ball and made it. Yeah, thought it was a money ball by just potting it with ball in hand, and not realizing that it's still 9 ball. You still have to pot the lowest ball on. So and the obvious thing is you can only ever pot the money ball using a lower ball or billiard onto it or combo onto it, and well, that's the only explanation as to why that happened. And meanwhile, WizKid has got as far as the 4 ball and left it on. Cue ball. So WizKid at 3 racks all should be 4 racks to 3 up after this visit. There's no reason why. There's no reason not to be. And if he lets this cue ball run and gets a nice kiss and a nice little nudge off the cushion, well, the only thing that's bad about that is it's a nasty cut back, but in it goes. And it's now 4 racks to 3 with the break. Let's have a quick look. Well, Simanx is now trailing 6 racks to 2 on that match with Larry. And Miasma is 2 racks to 1 up against DJ Redo. Snakes is still in the first rack with Rico. And they're all 1-loss side matches. And Larry, well, there's a result just came through. Larry has beaten Simanx by 7 racks to 2, but Simanx, whoever he plays, is more than likely going to be getting a handicap, which is still a good way of staying in the tournament. If you can make use of it, that is. Reverse bank on the 3. Well, WizKid misses a 4, but that's not where the problem lies. Well, there's a good angle in this 5 to pot the 5 and bring that cue ball into the 8 and the 6 and try and move something. Actually, from that angle, the 6 pot's no problem. And WizKid's left himself in dire straits here, because he can't get to the 6. And he's now made it a lot easier for Phoenix. Now, why are they not just potting the 6? You can pot it into that right hand corner, leave yourself in the 8. bank to 6, but that was always likely to happen playing it that way. Well, that cuts into the bottom corner. But that was a hell of a tough shot. And there's the result through from the one loss side. Miasma has beaten DJ Redo 4 racks to 1. And WizKid will be happy with that. Although there is a bank on. Well, that kiss off the 9 and that spin off the rail, spin back into the table, that's actually gone reasonably safe, but that's going to double bank if it holds up. And landed nicely on the 9. And now WizKid has the gap by 5 racks to 3. And a look at the bracket here, because the winner of this match is going to be getting a hefty handicap against Larry, and Snakes is 1-0 up against Rico, and Miasma and Simanx are about to play. So this here, it's now 10 or 5 minutes past 10, so this is going to be the last match of the night, folks. We'll stay to see the end of this one, and then I'm off to bed. So this will be to see who plays Larry for the hot seat match. Five ball locked away behind the 8 ball. Nothing doing up there. Again, there's an angle there on this 4, but that's not the way to do it. But there is a chance of the cut onto the 9 of the billiard, and he's played the billiard. And where's the cue ball going? Well, that's a disaster. That's unlucky. And WizKid trying to live up to his name there, getting carried away with himself. It was unlucky he got the scratch though, but it's now ball in hand for Phoenix. Not much thought or application get into the shots here. And WizKid needs to take this advantage, but likewise rushing into it. When you have a name like WizKid, you don't need to try and live up to it. You need to slow yourself down and take your time a bit more. And Phoenix just needs the 8 ball. Is that going to stay up? No, it's gone in. Oh, good evening. Well, this will be good evening and good night. Once this match is over, I'm off to bed, I'm afraid. And Phoenix breaks off. The 3 and the 5 have gone. And WizKid has tried to cut the 1, billiarded onto the 8, nudged the 8 into the middle pocket, and that's Phoenix's extra money ball gone. Is it going to be an attempted combo or a pot? It's going to be an attempted pot, and I think that too is left on. And the cue ball needs to come out. Well, there's a nice angle in this 4, but you've got to really just control the cue ball, stop it running away into the bottom corner pocket on the right. You just let it run too soft, and now it's one of these tough cutbacks. But in it goes. But again, the cue ball's running. Whenever you keep letting that cue ball run, it's at some point it's going to find a hole. And the only saving grace for WizKid is that that 8 ball has gone. And at least it forces Phoenix into potting 2 balls to win the rack. And we're now back all square. You never let a cue ball run if you can help it. You have to keep it as tight under control as you can. And you don't do shots like that. So WizKid has his chance here and really should be back into the lead. And a nice angle. Oh dear, that's a poor one. And this time it could be danger because the 8 ball is still up. And if Phoenix can nudge that down the rail, they've got themselves into the lead. And WizKid needs to slow down and think about what they're doing. It's the most obvious advice you could ever give anybody. Line the shot up, pick your point, and then play it. There's no preparation whatsoever. And that's going to hang up. And there's another bite at the cherry for WizKid. Well, this is going to have to be it's odds on it's the bank. But don't slam it. Oh, he's managed to get the cut. We'll give him that. And somehow or other, he's managed to find a way to win the rack with the aid and assistance of Phoenix. Well, again, it always makes me wonder when you see a player just banging at a ball with absolutely no thought of what they're doing. And that is why they'll always remain at that level, if that's the way they play. They've got no intention of ever actually learning anything or not taking in any information that they see when they watch people play. In fact, it's probably the biggest fault that there is with a lot of players. They don't watch other players. You know, the first thing that occurred to me when I came to VP3, there we've lost Phoenix. The first thing that occurred to me is who were the better players, and the next thing is well, I want to watch the better players and see how they play. So Phoenix a very quick disconnect and reconnect, and potted the wrong ball, has given ball in hand to WizKid. Well, that was never going to be giving you an angle to get up for the 4. But played the long, thin cut in the 4. Of course, that's just leaving you letting the cue ball run in and just hoping you get on the next ball. And there's far too much of that going on from a lot of these lower rated players, where they just slam a ball to the pot. Okay, anybody can pot a ball in Virtual Pool 4. That's the great thing about the game, but it's following it up. And you can see where players are not giving any thought of what they're doing. And there's big evidence of that in this. So WizKid sitting on 6 racks, needing just one more. Is going to have to dig out another good shot in the 7. The attempted bank and a half decent position on the 8 ball there would have won that rack and tied a match up. Oh, that's the match over. 8 ball hung up, and WizKid, as long as he can get a sight on the 9, is home and dry. So WizKid wins the match by 7 racks to 5, and he will be getting like maybe 6 and out against Larry for the hot seat. Let's have a look. And that will update in a minute or two. And meanwhile, Miasma is 2 racks to 1 up against Simanx. We've got Snakes 3 racks to 1 up against Rico. We can see that the one lost side has still got a bit to go. So with that, I'm afraid, folks, ladies and gents, our time is up. It's now well past my bedtime, and I am going to hit the hay, and I will bid you a good evening, and thanks for joining. Whoever's still watching, thanks for your company, and I hope to see you again sometime.